Aries, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for April 4th through the 10th of 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link because the signs are different. All right, so Aries, this week we have a new moon, and this new moon is in your 12th house, so it is a good time to go within. In fact, you're probably finding that it's already like that with the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, who's been in that 12th house. Now, Mercury is going to be shifting right at the beginning of the week into your first house. So you guys will probably start finding Tuesday, Wednesday onward as we approach this new moon. The new moon will be on Thursday, but approaching that, it is a receding time. I think there is a lowering of energies, but you'll probably find that you're thinking perhaps in terms of your goals, in terms of the things you want to work on, in terms of achieving the things that are important to you in life, maybe even your self-image. So it's a good time to perhaps get active with the mind, with the mental energies, to be thinking about these things. This is going to be the location. Mercury is going to go retrograde later in the month, but leading towards that retrograde, it's a good time to work with it, to work with your goals, to work on your self-image, etc. But still very spiritual nonetheless, and I feel like that's probably going to take the dominant energy, especially because of the new moon. Now, Venus is here, so you can be enjoying working behind the scenes. You can enjoy perhaps a bit of acceptance with your relationships, with how you relate with others, a bit of compassion. Perhaps, Venus is actually exalted in Pisces. So it's a good placement for her to be in. And anything else that's a spiritual activity in that sense, I think can be enjoyable. Now, this new moon specifically is going to be forming a couple of aspects, important ones. In fact, those aspects are all going to go exact this week. We have the Sun trining up to Saturn, then the Sun squaring up to Pluto on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, the new moon, and then followed by the Sun conjoining up to Uranus. And these are the three major aspects of the new moon. So in terms of the Saturn, and again, you'll feel this leading up to it, this is a bit of that patience and responsibility. And this has been specifically with what's really meaningful to you in life. You've had Saturn in that 8th house really helping you structure your intimacy, structure your deep connections, right? Build the things in life that are important to you. You're probably finding quite a bit of energy, in fact, to really get down to the truth, to express the truth, the brass tacks with your ruler Mars here in the 8th. And so that's fantastic also, especially because Saturn trending up to it means there's a lot of supportive energy. All right, now the support is a bit reflective, so it's good right now, since Saturn's retrograde, to be rethinking about what is meaningful, what is important to you, right? About intimacy, etc. But you'll find a lot of that helping ground this new moon. It can be a very grounded new moon in terms of these deeper things in your life, supporting this spiritual time, right? And that's why it's so good for you to get that meditative time, that time out right now, and you'll find pretty good support to do so in terms of maybe taking whatever discipline might be necessary to do that. Because things like meditation, of course, do take discipline and even being present and that sort of stuff. But whatever it is for you, it could just be getting some rest or relaxation. Now, in terms of the square up to Pluto, you'll be feeling this particularly, I think, on Wednesday leading up to it. This can be a very intense type of energy, very deep change, in fact. Now, this does happen twice a year, but it's a good time of the year to work on change, to be open to it as best as we can, right? And this is a lot of what's going on here is a lot of it's relating to your self-expression, right? With Saturn, you got this groundedness about your self-expression this week, but with Pluto, it's a lot of things changing with it, right? And you can feel the intensity in terms of what you're expressing, all right? And also in terms of your identity in many ways, because the Sun is very much our outward identity, especially with the moon in this new moon squaring up to Pluto. Okay, so it's a lot about being open to seeing things in a new light. And this is specifically with all the changes that have been happening with your life path, which has been Pluto in that 9th house, helping you restructure things, to see things in a new light, to go into a new path, a new direction, without holding on too tight to any particular outcome. All right? So very important, I feel like, on Wednesday in regards to that. Being open to change is always the best remedy for a Pluto square, as best as we can, of course. A willingness to dive deep. And again, intimacy, right, with self and other could be supporting that. Now, this new moon is going to be conjoining up to Uranus, so this is emphasizing the fact that this past 6 years has been very important for you to have spiritual freedom. In other words, to connect to the present moment, to have that alone time, to have faith and trust, and that is what's creating a lot of freedom for you with Uranus. And this is a new moon, a new beginning, a new understanding about this. Also a new understanding of being your true self, being who you really are. Could even be idealistic in some sense, since Uranus is associated with your 11th house. All right, in many ways too, a freedom of your self-expression is happening. All right, so that's being integrated, I think, a little bit later as the week unfolds, after this transformation, after this perhaps constructive utilization of the deep psyche, of the spiritual self, through whatever activities or just through that alone time. And then that freedom of being your true spiritual self really coming through. And that's going to be emphasized over the weekend once the sun conjoins up to that Uranus exact. All right, but it is a good time to reflect on these things. Where can you have change in your life? All right, where can you have good depth and intimacy? Where can you have freedom of being your true self? And perhaps most importantly, with the whole new moon in your 12th house, where can you have peace? Where can you accept things? What can you accept about your life so that you can have more peace there? And maybe some things in terms of where you can work behind the scenes right now, maybe get a bit of that rest and reflection time, which is so important because this month you're going to have the sun going into your first house. You're going to have a new moon here in May. And so it's a big energetic time coming up for you. And I think you'll be thinking about that, which is great this week. But of course, this is the time period to really get that rest and relaxation. All right, Aries, so have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.